What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the MLB Swing for the Fence show here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. Got a short slate rolling in for baseball tonight. Just 4 games, 3 of which start in the same 10-minute time window, and then a game, 2.5 hours later. So we're here anyway, man. Going 4-game slate. We're here for the people breaking down these games, trying to pick some winners. Getting ready for the Timberwolves, of course, to win Game 5 in Minnesota. How you doing, man, going on this Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, good to be here. I didn't play the early slate DC at all, so I feel fresh, right? Sometimes when you play these like back-to-back slates during the day, you feel like you got your shit kicked in and you're walking into the main slate. I'm feeling fresh right now, so it should be good. What?
It was one of those early slates. It was just 3 games. They all started at the exact same time. I did play just one lineup, and it was looking like I was dead. Like, I'm not kidding. Roughly, I don't know, 90 seconds into the slate, something like that. Like, Paddock gave up a 2-run bomb. A couple guys that I didn't have at home runs. I was like, I played the 4-4-4. I was sitting like 199th out of 200 for much of the day, and then my twin stack. They roar back to earth, and they get me all the way back to on the bubble. And then, of course, I fade and don't end up cashing in the end. So, you got kicked in the nuts twice on the early slate. But
that is brutal. No, I took off because I have my doctor's appointment for my foot tomorrow, and I'll get a lot of answers. And I was like, I want to rest up really good. So I slept until 11. It was beautiful. I didn't even play the slate, and but I got started on the playbook. I helped AP out and did the playbook, and ready to roll. It's a nice little 4-gamer. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, we got the Timberwolves tonight. So overall, I'm excited. We got the weekend. We got UFC, DC. I gotta go back to back, man. I gotta try and take that down.
That's right. Didn't we have last week off in UFC? I think.
Yeah.
So
it was the 1 week. It was the 1 week, DC. I was looking forward to a UFC slate, and I was like, shit, I win something, and now I have nothing to look forward to. This is bullshit.
Yeah, pay-per-view on I believe on Saturday with Dustin Poirier and Makhachev. Should be a good one there, and we're looking forward to that. Of course, we got all the content you need. Thanks for the little intro there, man. Going all the content you need over at Run Pure Sports. Promo code DC15 for 15% off first weekly or monthly payment. Hit the like button, and I don't know, man, going after your big MMA win, are you gonna kick someone off the core page and jump in there and give the people winners? No.
We'll tout the content again, right? So Jacob says you're playing now. So Jacob, I had this revelation the other day. So I was looking at my top 1% for my teams and everything like that, and saying what sports am I doing best in? And one sport I was doing really good at was NASCAR. I noticed my top 1% were really high and stuff like that. And I really liked my NASCAR process because all it does is I pull up the cheat sheet and I make decisions based on that. And I make my adjustments using, the optimizer here. And that's just it. And I said, why can't I not replicate that in UFC, right? How can I not do that? I can do the same exact thing that I do in NASCAR for UFC. And I started it probably 5 weeks ago, and then I shipped. I will say I primarily use Big T's just because I play way less lineups and he takes more stands, but I do look at Dan and JBC's on the cheat sheet and whoever else is on there. And just make decisions like that. So
does it concern you that your 2 best sports now are sports that you just look at other people's content and don't do your own?
No, they're not my best. I just noticed NASCAR, and it was a really short sample. I had a 4%. I just think it's the niche sports. I think it's I think there's a really big advantage in niche sports in general. So that's kind of the reasoning for it. And I don't know. I think the higher, as we get further on, I think NBA is getting a lot tougher. I feel like it's because it's very projection.
You need to follow in our friend Rubio Dime's footsteps and get involved in the women's badminton streets. That's where you can really get those ROIs up.
I actually really want to play more WNBA, so that is fair. I just haven't gotten into a rhythm for it. But I'm telling you, the niche sports, a lot of people just don't. I don't think they know exactly what they're doing, and high variance sports as well. So I don't know. I'm excited to play some of these niche sports that we're gonna have this summer. DC, we're gonna have NBA basketball for the Olympics. I think that'll be pretty niche, so that'll be pretty good stuff. We're gonna have, I believe there's some big soccer thing that you might know that's going on, DC. I think June and July. Is that correct?
Euros, yeah. So it's like the World Cup, but only European teams.
Yeah, and so like and I guess because we only have a 4-game slate, we can talk more about this. But like, if you're watching, and I don't know, I assume you like baseball. If you're watching, you're not probably into the soccer. But if you just want to sub to soccer, we're gonna have that for you, right? If you just want to sub for the NBA, Summer League, and Olympics, we'll have that. So yeah, I just feel pretty confident in that for sure. Scott's asking if anyone's playing simulated Madden DFS. I have done that. I've had some success, but it's too much of a grind. I don't feel like doing it every single day. So, but
if you want to sign up for the Rubio Dime soccer only package, you can use promo code PICNIC15 for 15% off. Got to wait a couple months for Euros to come around.
Lou, you don't have to. Where's Lou's thing? Lou, you don't have to watch the soccer. You can still play it if you want. But yeah. Overall, though, I am excited for MMA this weekend and diving back into the process that I've been doing. And I don't know. Again, I don't play as many teams. I'm only playing 10 teams still. I'm still sticking with that. I'm not doing 150. I ain't doing that bullshit. I'll support it a little bit, but I'm not going 150. I think it's pointless.
Yeah. We'll get into the baseball. Just a word of advice. If your girlfriend dumps you, don't make a music video of getting stabbed in the back and then post it on Twitter, drowning in the waves. Don't do that. Just take your L with some class. Keep it moving. All right, man, go. Let's get into this 4-game MLB slate. Like I said, 3 early games, 1 later game. First game we'll talk about Detroit and Boston. This one in Boston, in Fenway, of course. Low total, pretty tough hitting weather, cool, some winds blowing in. Nick Pivetta on the hill against one of the breakout stars, pitching-wise, DFS-wise, for this season, Jack Flaherty, obviously former A's guy. We were on pretty early in the season, and man, he has delivered pretty much every time out, including some absolute monster performances. He's certainly been good to me. I know he's been good to a lot of RPS members, and the price hasn't gotten prohibitive, honestly. $8,700 for Flaherty, given the type of performances that he's delivering, seems fair. I don't love pitching pitchers, especially on the road in Fenway, but let's be honest. This Red Sox lineup is not the juggernaut that we sometimes see Boston roll out there. I mean, there's really only, I would say, one hitter, Rafael Devers, in that entire lineup that it profiles as, anything more than really an average big league bat. So I don't think that's bad of a spot for Flaherty. He is an underdog here to Nick Pivetta, who is actually cheaper, $1,000 cheaper than Jack Flaherty. Been a weird season for Pivetta. Had 2 good outings, then went on the IL. I believe it was an elbow issue. Came back, got rocked by the Braves. Had 2 pretty great outings against Tampa Bay and St. Louis. And then got rocked again in his last outing 5 days ago against the Brewers. So he's kind of bookended 2 good starts with 2 bad ones since returning from the IL. He looks, at least in terms of the velocity and spin rate and locations and all that stuff, like he's totally fine health-wise. The only thing that would say otherwise is his pitch counts. Hasn't thrown very many pitches since coming back. He threw 58 against the Braves that first start. You understand that one. It's his first start back. He's getting hit around. They pull him after 4. But even the 2 good ones, only threw 81 and 72 pitches, and then 77 last time out when he had another poor start against Milwaukee. So it is kind of hard to figure out what's going on with Nick Pivetta right now, but he does get to pitch at home here against a pretty bad, really bad Tiger squad, frankly, that's also missing Kerry Carpenter. I would argue their second best hitter against right-handed pitching before he went on the IL. So listen, this is a lineup that has a lot of strikeouts in it. I think Pivetta is interesting, and I love Jack Flaherty. Loved him all season, and we'll probably stay on him here. So first game of the night, I have no problem here, man, going with, a little pitching game stack pitching, whatever you want to call it. 2 pitching from the same game, I guess. Even though it's in Fenway, I think the weather is pretty nice for pitching. So I'm in on both these guys. I do prefer Flaherty slightly to Pivetta. I do think both will be fairly highly owned on this slate, but I think rightfully so. Your thoughts here, Mangone, Tigers, and Red Sox.
Yeah, and DC, while you were rambling about that game, I looked up my baseball.
Analyzing the game.
While you were analyzing the game, I analyzed my data on my baseball teams, and my top 1%, 2, and 3 are all pretty good. So screw you. I'm above the number that I need to be above, and it's improved since the last time I looked, which I was hoping for. So there you go.
It seems aggressive to come after me for that, but okay.
It was very hurtful. You said it was the sports I haven't looked at, but I looked at today. I was on the playbook today, and I dove deeper into these games. DC, I wrote up xFIPs, I wrote up swinging strike rates, I wrote it all up. So I am very excited for this game specifically. I'm similar to.
Where do you think I got my information to ramble about the game?
That's true. You saw my playbook and got my swinging strike rates and the xFIPs and everything, but I do think also this is another small thing to note. It's not huge, but wind is blowing in 5 miles an hour. It's 60 degrees. It's like 10 degrees less than every other game. So it's definitely the best weather spot of the slate if you had to pick one when it just comes to pitching. Nick Pivetta and Flaherty, I love both of these guys. I think for one, Flaherty is my SP1. I think between him and Zach Gallen, I think it's really close. But I ended up leaning with Jack Flaherty. Yes, I'm worried about Rafael Devers, but spot in the order I'm not that scared of. I think Flaherty is the guy. He's been so strong this year. So I'm going to lean with Jack Flaherty as my SP1 on the slate. I kind of compared a lot of pitchers today, and Nick Pivetta compared to Christian Scott. I just felt like at the ownership discount you're going to get on Pivetta, who's more in this mid-range. He's kind of close to Carlos Rodon, who I think gets ownership. I think Christian Scott projects very similarly to Pivetta for a $900 difference. To spend more on Pivetta, I think you're going to get an ownership discount that I am interested in. So Nick Pivetta is going to be the guy for me that I'm going to be pretty overweight on. When you ask that question at the end of the show, who's the guy that's going to be very impactful? I just think it's him because of what the ownership is coming in at. And against this Tigers team, I'm not that scared of them. If you look at this team, Veerling had a huge game the other day, and they're coming off that 12-run game that went absolutely insane with. Sometimes it's good to buy the other side of it, right? And I'm going to buy the other side of it here with Nick Pivetta. I think it's a really good play. I don't really like any of these offenses today. I think where I'm getting more different today is at pitcher a bit. Also, another way to get different, I think that's really important on 4-game slates. I know, DC, you're big on this. You said you hand-built a team the other day that won you $25K. And just kind of I don't even think you did a 5-man, right? But it was a 4-man stack. And on a 4-game slate, I think 4-mans are a really good way to go. Build a 4-3-1, maybe a 4-4. These are things that I will definitely be looking at, especially if I want to jam in either the Yankees or Braves with a couple expensive arms. So I think that's going to be something that I look to do to get different on this slate. I do think Pivetta, though, I think he's not going to come in at 40 or 50%. I think there's other pitchers that'll come in and garner a lot of ownership. And you just might get a nice discount where you're getting Pivetta at 20%. And I just think he's worth it. The upside is too good against this Tigers team. Gio Urshela is batting in the 4-hole for this team. Mark Canha is third. This is not a scary offense at all. And typically lefties are going to hit righties a lot better. And this is a good park, it's a good park for pitchers when you're dealing with lefty power. So any of that lefty power that I'm worried about, like a Riley Green or Mr. Akil Baddoo, who I know you loved in the past a little bit, I'm not scared of them. And he can obviously strike out a ton. He's a very boom bust kind of guy. So I think overall, Nick Pivetta, I think he's one of the better values on this slate if you want to consider him a value at 7,800. And I think Jack Flaherty is the top projected pitcher of the slate. I think it's very close between him and Gallen. If you have some lean that makes you want to take Gallen over him, that's fine. But for me, it's Flaherty number 1.
Yeah, I've got Flaherty 1. I've got Pivetta, either 2 or 3. Honestly, for a 4-game slate, it is pretty strong for pitching. Yeah, thank you, Scott. Talk about rambling. Yes, Scott Payne. Thank you. You can have an honorary membership to RPS on me.
To be fair, Scott, someone has to fill the time, because if we don't go even close to an hour, Big T then gets on me and says, "Man, go never finishes shows in an hour," and We probably aren't making it an hour, though. I'm being honest today. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah, we'll try our best. We're at 18 minutes, one game in, so maybe we can get there. But of course, that included the pre-show, pre-baseball nonsense. But yeah, Red Sox Tigers. I think a good game to load up on the pitching. If you're not on these guys, I do think both will be popular. You talked about Pivetta at 20%. I think that number is going to come in higher. I mean, he's a favorite. Low team total for the Tigers. He's, I think, a pretty well-respected pitcher. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pivetta exceed 30%. Flaherty's going to be owned. If you're not playing these guys, I do think it's worthwhile to take a bat or two against them. My preferences would be, they're expensive, but Devers and Riley Green. Devers obviously for the Red Sox, Green for the Tigers. And then Colt Keith swinging a pretty good bat right now for the Tigers as well. Makes sense if you, on any 4-game slate, anytime I don't have a pitcher on the lineup, I do like to mix it up a little bit and get kind of one guy, try to pick off the one guy that's going to do most of the damage against the pitcher that I'm fading.
I do think DC Colt Keith, I think he'll be pretty owned just because second base punting is normally something people love to do. When you look, he definitely grades out as one of the better ones. So that's just something to know. Ownership wise, I think he'll be a very chalky one-off. Not that you couldn't play him, but I just think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah. The pitchers on this next game I think will be popular as well. Arizona and the New York Mets. 7 total in this one, lowest on the slate. Christian Scott, rookie for the Mets, will make his fifth start for Christian Scott. Time flies. He's been good, not perfect. I know, we know from Discord, man, going anytime a pitcher gives up so much as a single hit or walk, they are just completely dead and dusted and a terrible play. So people expect a lot out of their starting pitchers. So maybe some view Scott as a little bit underwhelming. I would say he's been pretty damn good for a rookie. 3 of the 4 starts, over 15 fantasy points. He gets Arizona here, neutral-ish matchup, I would say, for Christian Scott, kind of across the board. I think he's a pretty good way to go, honestly, at 6.9K. Obviously, gives you a little savings to spend up. I certainly have interest in Mr. Scott myself. And, Zach Gallen up to 9,500. He is the most expensive pitcher on this slate. I think you could argue deservedly so. This Mets team, man. Are you a Mets fan? You are, man, aren't you? White Sox.
Right here. New York Mets right there.
There it is. Okay, yeah. There it is. You're a Mets fan. Well, I'm sorry that you're a Mets fan. It doesn't seem great to be on a 63-win pace with the highest payroll in baseball, but that's where the Mets are right now. Did you see the Jorge Lopez glove throw into the crowd? Yes. And then
I did. I kind of respected it. I was like, if you're gonna go out guns blazing. So the Mets life is definitely a tough one, but I never wanted to pick the Yankees, and I'm still happy I didn't. So happy I'm a Met fan, and one day it'll feel real good when they do.
You might be waiting a while. But yes, Zach Gallen, good spot here. Mets do have, I believe, they do have the lowest total on the slate. No Pete Alonso in the lineup for the Mets. And, this team, it doesn't mean they're not going to have some good offensive games, but morale's got to be so low on this team right now, just given everything that's going on. I think they're 10-25 in the last 35 games, way behind, frankly, out of the race against the Phillies and the Braves already. As we're not even into June quite yet. So I don't know. I do give a little bit of a bump, even beyond the numbers, to Gallen, just because of that stuff. You can just see the Mets kind of rolling over and quitting, to be honest. So I like Gallen here at 9,500. I don't know, with the cheaper options, Flaherty, Pivetta, Scott, maybe a couple more that we haven't yet talked about that'll get all that much Pivetta, but certainly a good play. I kind of lean the savings with Scott, but I'll be honest, I'm a little hesitant to just buy into the Mets at all at the moment. I would say, another starting pitcher, probably the least worrisome. Yeah, Scotty Mets last in OPS at home. Mets last in a lot of stuff. So no surprise there. But Gallen, Scott, both in play. it's a tough slate for offenses, right? Two stand out: the Braves, who obviously have been awful, and the Yankees against Patrick Sandoval. Neither of these offenses stand out to me. What are you doing with these pitchers? What are you doing with this game in general, Mango?
Yeah, these first two games, no one's going to love the offenses. The second two, they're going to like the offenses. It's pretty simple slate. I don't want to completely ignore the idea of just playing Diamondbacks in tournaments. I didn't really write them up too much on the playbook because I can't list everyone. But I thought they would be intriguing because I just don't think they'll be owned, right? I think if everyone just runs projections, which a lot of people do, they're just going to take Christian Scott. Like I said before, I prefer Nick Pivetta. I think you're going to see Scott double the ownership of Pivetta possibly. If it's not exact, it's going to be close enough at least where I think Pivetta is a better play than Christian Scott. Not that I won't play Christian Scott. I think he's a good play at $6,900, but everyone's going to take that $900 savings instead. So for me, I prefer Pivetta to Christian Scott, but I still do like Christian Scott. Zach Gallen, he does get a great lineup to go against, right? No Pete Alonso is definitely beneficial. He gets Lindor. I mean, DJ Stewart in the 2-hole. Any team that is DJ Stewart in the 2-hole right now, it's just an absolute disaster. Brandon Nimmo, JD Martinez, Starling Marte, Jeff McNeil, Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty, and then Omar Narvaez or Ofer Narvaez because he never gets hits. He's so bad. So this team is really garbage. Zach Gallen's a really good play. Tim and Flaherty up at the top two options. But as we talked about, DC, we really want to go and spend on some hitters, I think, on this slate. Can we play a Gallen and Flaherty team and then jam in the Yankees or Braves? It is difficult. It's not super easy. So that's something that's just worth mentioning on this slate where that's why I like that savings from Flaherty to Gallen a little bit more for me. So overall, though, I don't love this game for hitting. It's a 7 total. If you look at all the totals on the slate, this one's at 7. The game before was 7.5. The last two are 8.5. I do think the Arizona Diamondbacks do get under-owned naturally on this slate. So if you want to take a stab on them, listen, betting on Corbin Carroll, Kendall Marte, Jock Peterson, Christian Walker, Gurriel, like those dudes are definitely bona fide hitters. Like you definitely are not taking bad plays. So I don't totally hate it, but I prefer the next two games for bats for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Rookie pitcher, obviously, and Scott, you never know. And yeah, it's not like, I mean, even the Mets, bad as they've been, still a big league lineup going against Zach Gallen. And
their bullpen's terrible too, by the way. The Mets bullpen is so bad, so you can take it.
Oh yeah,
chances.
They're absolutely dead. The Mets bullpen. So yeah, I think again, I'll reiterate the same point. If you're not on either of these guys, I do think it is beneficial to take some bats against them. We got some Donald Trump trial talk in the chat. Take that to Discord, guys. That's where Trump chat belongs. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, let's get to the third game on the slate. It is the Nationals and the Braves. Trevor Williams and Raymond Kerr going to go at it in this one. Braves big favorite, sitting around -190, 8.5 total. Washington beat up on the Braves a little bit yesterday. And we'll look to do the same against a looks like Raymond Kerr, kind of like a 2-pitch guy. He really only throws fastball, curveball. I would expect right-handers in general to have success against him. So I am looking at guys like Thomas, Meneses, maybe Keibert Ruiz as decent plays against Raymond Kerr. And then Trevor Williams pitching for Washington. This man has owned me all year long. Stacked against him frequently. I've almost never used him myself. And he continues to get the job done. Now he's like 5 and dive, like almost exclusively. He's gone exactly 5 innings in 5 of his last 6 outings and 4 1/3 in the other one. So it certainly seems like the Nationals know they don't want him to face a third time through the order. Politics chat and politics, talking chat. It's not great, but I do kind of like these National stats. I'm a little bit surprised at the team total as low as it is. I think that's because of the strength of the Atlanta bullpen, who I would expect to pitch a number of innings in this game. Raymond Kerr probably looking at 4 or 5 innings. Then he should be out of there. And obviously Trevor Williams, kind of the same thing. It is funny too, man, going, so much talk, Discord, Twitter, whatever, how much the Braves suck, how much they disappoint. But like the odds makers aren't buying that at all. Like they got one of the highest team totals every night. They got the highest total of nights, close to 5 runs against Trevor Williams. And so, yeah, people will be back on the Braves. I'll probably take the bait once again myself. I'm not going to use either of these pitchers. I think you could, not the craziest options, but with so many good options. I mean, the 4 guys that we talked about in the first 2 games, I think are all really good options. So no Williams, no Kerr for me. I do like the bats in this game, though. Nice hitting weather in Atlanta. Where do you stand on Nationals and Braves?
Yeah, Nationals and Braves. So the Nationals, I played them yesterday a little bit just because I wasn't a huge believer in this, pitcher that was called up. I don't remember what his name was, but I just felt like people were buying too much into him when I thought this Nationals offense, look how much better it is, especially when you get the addition of Lane Thomas in there. Like I talked about trying to find these offenses that I want to buy into early in the season that I think can be like the Arizona Diamondbacks were the past couple of years as they kept getting better. And I mean, dude, CJ Abrams, Lane Thomas, Joey Meneses, Winker, Ruiz, it's just a strong 1 through 5. I feel like for at least the price tag, right? I'm not saying these guys should all be 5K, but I'm just saying for the price of 5, 6, 4, 1, 3, 4, 3, 9, and 2, 5, how do I not buy on these Nationals? I just think they are worth buying for sure. I want to be overweight on them, no doubt. So I will definitely be overweight on the Washington Nationals. I don't think they're getting enough love today. So like them a lot here in this spot. The Atlanta Braves, if I had to pick between the Braves and Yankees today, which I think a lot of people are going to have that tough decision when picking their top offense, for me, it's going to be the Yankees. I do like the Braves. One thing I do like about the Braves is Sean Murphy at 3.5 is a really nice price tag on him. That price is not going to stick, right? That's going to change. It's going to go up. So I think that's a really good value. Even Kalenic and Duvall at their price tags, I think they're really good values. I do like this bottom of the order value better than I like the Yankees bottom of the order value. I will say that. If you kind of compare them, that's kind of my overall take. I think the Braves could fit for some really good mini stacks. If you wanted to do a Sean Murphy with a Kalenic or a Sean Murphy with an Arcia, I think that's an amazing way to do it with the value that you have there. So do like the Braves, though. I definitely want to be well overweight on the Nationals. That feels like a team I'm definitely going to take a pretty big stand on today. And, of course, I will like the Braves. They will come with ownership, though. Do you think it's the Braves or the Yankees with more ownership today, DC?
I feel like it should be the Yankees, but I feel like it might be the Braves. I don't know. You have a strong lean there?
That's how I felt, too. I felt similar. I think it should be the Yankees, but I think it will be the Braves. So it sounds like we had a similar thought going into it. Do you have any take on Trevor Williams? That was the other thing I didn't write him up because it's on this pitching slate, it's kind of hard to sit there and write him up. When I had to pick between Williams or Sandoval as the leverage play, I felt like Sandoval was the better leverage play because of the upside. But do you have any take on Trevor Williams?
I'm not using either Williams or Sandoval or Kerr. Those 3 guys are out the pool. The other 5, I think, are very much in play. So yeah, that's just kind of the way I'm approaching. I do like these lefties though. Like I said, against Raymond Kerr, Lane Thomas. This Nationals team, by the way, they are running absolutely wild on the bases. I mean, Lane Thomas missed a whole month of the season, which is half the season at this point. Mm-hmm. I think he has 13 steals on the year, which for someone who's missed half the season, I mean, it's almost halfway there to Elly De La Cruz. So, he is absolutely taken off on the base paths. I think he's going to be a player to roster 4,100, one of my favorite players on the slate. He'll be in the chorus tonight for sure, will Mr. Lane Thomas. So, yeah, I do think that the bats here make a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, people talking about, we're living in the past, Trevor Williams, maybe. But I don't know. I think regression's coming for Mr. Williams. Maybe not tonight, but soon. And the nice thing about the Braves, like you mentioned, those bottom of the order bats, Arcia, Murphy, Duvall, Kelenic, Braves almost never pinch hit. So you almost always get the full game's worth of the bats, which is underrated, especially for some bottom of the order bats. So yeah, I actually like hitters on both sides of this one. And Braves in particular, you can play, I think all of these Braves bats are pretty reasonable plays against Williams and the Nationals bullpen. do the last game of the night. No lineup out for this one that I have seen. Angels and Yankees, 8.5 total. So tied with Braves and Nationals as the highest on the slate. It is two lefties on the hill, Carlos Rodon and Patrick Sandoval pitching for the Angels. Yankees disappointed last night. They loaded the bases in the first inning. There was some like controversial double play on a pop-up. I thought for sure they were going up with like a grand slam, but didn't turn out that way, and they didn't really do much the rest of the game. I think they only scored 2 total runs. Looking to bounce back here against Sandoval, pretty good spot to do it. He struggled this year, no question about it, coming off a terrible outing against Cleveland. Just not a very good pitcher. Guy who's going to continue to give up a lot of home runs. Certainly like the Yankees power bats in this one against Sandoval. And then Carlos Rodon, 8,200. Pretty nice price point for him for his talent level, which, is high. When he's on his game, he's very, very good. And a good matchup too, or pretty good matchup against the Angels. Rodon has been one that I have not been on. Same thing with Verlander, who owned me again last night. And I probably won't jump on the Rodon train much tonight, but at this point, kind of willing to take my L there. I'm just kind of too stubborn to do it. So I'll be on some Angels bats from Gifo, Ward, Pilar. These guys have been hitting lefties well. Played them against Cortez. A few of them came through. And I think they could do some damage here to Carlos Rodon in Los Angeles tonight. So I'll be more going the contrarian route with this game with some Angels bats. Not playing Sandoval. I do think Rodon is a very reasonable play. I'm just, like I said, kind of dug my grave with Rodon, and I'm not willing to dig out. I'll just lay there and let him bury me some more. Throw some more dirt on DC's corpse. But where do you stand, man, going with the Angels and the Yankees here?
Yeah, I do like the Angels a little bit with you. I'm not a big Rodon guy. I just feel like when I look at Rodon on this slate, and I just compare it to like Pivetta, Scott, Flaherty, and Gallen, and even like a Sandoval or Trevor Williams, who I think they can show upside. Like, I just feel like Rodon's kind of a condom play, right? Like, if you're playing cash games, you're probably going to want Carlos Rodon. He's perfectly fine. He's not going to kill you, but I'd rather take my chances with some of these other pitchers. And I don't hate the Angels from a value perspective, right? These Angels, I mean, Pilar is one great example that you mentioned. I know he has gone up in price a little bit, so he is 4,500. He was cheaper before. Logan O'Hoppe, he is 3.8. He's not a bad option to go to at the catcher position. I don't want to ignore the Angels. We still do need this lineup. It is a little bit of a late night hammer. Wind's blowing out 6 miles an hour at 70 degrees. I know it's not the greatest park to hit in, but there's not a lot of good parks in general on this slate. I do think overall, though, the Angels are a good value team to attack. I probably have them 4th on my list. I'd probably say I have Yankees 1, Braves 2. Actually, probably Nationals 2 and then Braves 3, just because I want to buy on the
You're doing the stacks in a minute, man. Going, don't give away the goods right now.
I know I'm giving away too early. Sorry, but I think the Angels are in that conversation today because of the value that they can provide throughout their lineup, like a Joe Waddell at 3.7 down at the bottom, and they just have punt options that will help make things work. I don't love them as a 5-man, but it's more like a mini stack or one-offs. That's kind of how I'm handling the Angels specifically. The Yankees, I'm absolutely going to love them today. Love Aaron Judge, love Stanton, Volpe. They're all options that I want to get to. Soto at 6.3. I will say, I think Soto will be a lot lower owned than Judge because I think a lot of people will have problems getting Judge and Soto in, and they're just going to all click Judge. I mean, Let's just pull up Judge's game log just because it's fun to look at. I know he's showed a little bit recently, but before that, it was absolutely insane. So if you go back to we'll go back. He had 35, 14, 22, 5, 16, 12, 4, 20, 25, 16, 23. And the last 3 have been 3, 3, and 4. I mean, the dude's been absolutely mashing. And now he has Patrick Sandoval. Now, the key with Patrick Sandoval, though, is I will have a little bit of him in tournaments. I think the reason to have a little bit of him in tournaments is because the upside that he has shown throughout the season and going up against this Yankees team that has struggled a little bit.
Don't do it, man. He's going to suck here.
I'm with you. I'm going to be well overweight on the Yankees, but if you're playing 50 to 150 teams, I wouldn't take him out of the pool. If you're only playing maybe 5 to 10 teams, then I wouldn't play him. I just don't think you need to on this slate. But if you had to pick a leverage play pitcher, for me, I think it's Sandoval over Trevor Williams. But again, I'm not touting that I'm going to be playing Patrick Sandoval all over the place and be like well overweight. He's not going to be in my core today. There's just better pitchers that I'd rather get to. And there's other ways to be unique, like I talked about earlier, like playing 4-3-1s. Those are the stacks that I'm going to look to do and play these good pitchers. So, but that's the leverage play I would go if I had to. And I was writing up the playbook. I felt like I had to put some kind of leverage thing, game theory thing on a 4-game slate. So that's kind of the reason.
Makes sense. Let's get to the fun stuff here at the end of the show. We'll get on out of here a little bit early, make those lineups, get ready for a dominant Wolves win, and get ready for Friday. I'm gonna just throw that in there just a few times throughout the show. Same drill as always. Favorite stack, favorite contrarian stack. Mine actually come from the same game. My favorite stack is the Yankees. And my favorite contrarian stack is the Angels on the other side against Carlos Rodon. What about you, man? Going favorite stack, favorite contrarian stack?
Yeah, favorite stack is definitely the Yankees. So me and DC are definitely attacking Sandoval with these Yankees stack. My contrarian one is the Nationals. I'm definitely going to be all over them today. Want to be well overweight on that team.
In on the Nationals as well. Most important pitcher for you, Mangone, who's going to be tonight?
Most important pitcher is Nick Pivetta. He won't not be owned, but I think people are going to see, the recent game against Milwaukee and worry. I'm not worried about that. They're all going to go to Christian Scott. And again, Christian Scott's been great at 6,900, but I just think for a little bit lower ownership, I love the upside of Nick Pivetta here. So he'll be a very important pitcher for me.
All right. I like Pivetta as well. I'm rolling with my guy, Captain Jack Flaherty, as my captain and pitcher tonight. Give us a home run call, Mangone. Who's going yard tonight?
Home run call. Let's go with we'll go to the Nationals and we'll go with a guy that's hitting a hot bat. We'll go with Lane Thomas at 4,100.
So that was going to be my play of the day. I guess I could still take that.
He can still be your play of the day. That's fair.
Yeah. Home run call. Give me Mr. Jock Peterson taking Christian Scott deep out to right field today. Your overall favorite play of the day, mine is Lane Thomas. So, hopefully that includes a home run. We can both get it right. Play of the day and home run call. But your favorite offensive play on the slate, man?
Yeah. I should mention too, if you are going to look for one-offs, I do think a lot of those Arizona guys, I love that Jock Peterson call. I think those are really good one-offs to attack that chalky, value pitcher that people are going to be all over. So like that call. I'll go with, it's kind of a cop-out, but I love Aaron Judge. I'm going to go with him as my home run call. He gets the job done. So my value that I really like today that people might not go to as much is Keibert Ruiz. We'll put him in there as a fun value play that I really want to be overweight on.
Good stuff there. DC, are you going to hop on the NBA show? No, apparently they don't like unbiased takes over there. I'm too objective to go on the NBA show. So still waiting for my invite. That'll do it for this show. Short Thursday slate. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We do appreciate it. Hit the like button on your way out. We do have the NBA show coming up. And, of course, the show will be back Friday night fireworks edition with Stats and Boynton for a fun Friday slate. That is, of course, at the same time, same place that today's show's on. That'll do it for us, for Mangone. I'm DC. Go Wolves. We're out of here.